fulfills his promise, talking about Abiodun, who has fulfilled his promise to the athletes. In the NBA, obviously, Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks are still drawing it out as the series is at 3-2 apiece, where Indiana Pacers still leads the win ahead of New York Knicks. New York Knicks defeated Indiana Pacers to keep their NBA playoffs hopes alive. This happened just a couple of hours ago. We're bringing you all of the highlights. And again, in transfers, Alexander Arnold has finally moved to Real Madrid and for a 6-year deal. This happened just a couple of hours ago as he has landed Santiago Bernabeu and he is set to start working with the current new coach of Real Madrid. That's talking about Xavi Alonso, who was one time a Liverpool player and also a Real Madrid player. So it's just looking exciting how he would be able to fit in properly with the squad. Still talking transfers, Conte has made moves in finalizing orders and getting the signature of De Bruyne all over to Napoli. That's where De Bruyne might be ending up at the end of the summer, given the fact that his job is done with Manchester City. And then still talking transfers, talking about Erik ten Hag now, he's looking to sign players, a couple of players from Manchester United. He's looking to bring them all the way to Bayern Leverkusen and then see how he would be able to continue the winning spell that Xavi Alonso left behind. So we'll be looking at all of those, having those conversations and see how well everything is going to pan out. And again, still the friendly match that's supposed to happen between the Super Falcons has been postponed, given the fact that the Lionesses of Cameroon arrived in Nigeria very late last night and the game was scheduled for today, but it has been postponed till Monday. We'll be having that conversation, and also Gateway Games in Enugu will be kickstarting soon as well. So we'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, Talk Sports continues. Stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now let's get into the conversation as we're starting from the home front and the just concluded National Sport Festival with excitement as Abiodun fulfills 2.5 million cash promise to Ogun athletes. Yes, Ogun State has commenced the disbursement of financial reward to athletes who secured medals at the recently concluded 2022 National Sport Festival held in Abeokuta. The payments are in line with Governor Dapo Abiodun's earlier commitment to intensifying and celebrating the athletes' outstanding performance at the 22nd National Sport Festival tagged Gateway Games 2024 came to an end. The games came to an end on Thursday with Ogun State finishing second on the medal table behind champions Delta State. The hosts made a late surge from their third spot to displaced Bayelsa State. Ogun State finished the multiple sports event with 93 gold medals, one more than the third-placed Bayelsa. Ogun State also recorded 65 silver and 80 bronze medals, and Governor Abiodun has already made moves to fulfilling his promise to deserving athletes for their prestigious and superb performance at the 22nd National Sports Festival that was just concluded. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says in the comment while during the end of this Gateway Games, he says Nigerians should continue, let the flame from the events transit into the country, the communities, schools, and as well as every sector in Nigeria to help development and infrastructural growth in the country. That is what his speech was about, and he said he was proud of doing it as an Ogun State son. So that is just very great and very amazing. But for the athletes now, these athletes actually protested early hours of Wednesday morning ahead of this payment not being made by the governor of Ogun State. And then having this report now and also seeing that, yes, he has started making this payment, this report actually coming from the athletes themselves, it shows that, yes, Abiodun listened to the cry of these athletes and then fulfill the promise of, giving them out cash prize. So this is welcoming, and this is very, very this is a very good development for sport in general. So moving on, and then we are looking forward to another Gateway Games that will be happening in Enugu State. And the Commissioner of Sport in Enugu has this to say. He says, Enugu will outdo Gateway Games. That's coming from the Commissioner. And he says, Enugu State Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development, Lord Ikechukwu Ikweremadu, has promised that the Coal City Games will raise the standard of the National Sport Festival as they take the baton from the host of the 22nd edition in Ogun State. The 22nd National Sport Festival, tagged Gateway Games 2024, came to a thrilling end on Thursday with a closing ceremony at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta, where the official handing over of the hosting rights to Enugu State was performed. While addressing journalists before the ceremony, the Enugu Sports Commissioner noted that the state had taken necessary cues from the Gateway Games 2024 as they continue to prepare towards next edition. So looking at it now, they said they will outshine and perform greatly. So looking at this now, we are expecting to see a high level. The bar has been set, and then we are expected to see another higher bar being set by the Coal City Games, as the Commissioner of Sports and Youth Development in Enugu State has promised. So we are seeing all of this happening, and we are certain that a whole lot of infrastructural development and grassroots development also is currently happening in Enugu State, with the governor, inaugurating and initiating policies that will help the common man, in sports and also in other business activities. So we would see how all of that will happen, and these games will be coming a little bit later in the year. So we'll see how they would be able to fit in properly and raise the bar ahead of what we just witnessed. And we are hoping not to get any form of protest from athletes based on comments that their allowances and salaries haven't been paid. So we hope not to have incidents or negative stories like this arise from the Coal City Games that will be coming up later in the year. So moving away from that, Cameroon's late arrival forces cancellation of Super Falcons friendly, and the story says the friendly match between Nigeria's women's national team and Cameroon at the Remo Stars Stadium in Ikenne has been called off. The first of the two-legged international friendly, initially scheduled for Saturday, was expected to mark the Super Eagles' return to action for the first time since their narrow defeat in France. This happened in December 2023. However, logistics issues involving the visiting Cameroonian team have forced a change of plans. The Cameroonian delegation arrived in the host town very late on Friday, making it infeasible to produce with a feature as planned. The late arrival, attributed to travel hitches from their country to Ikenne, disrupted both the Lionesses. Looking at these angles now, recovery schedule and matchday protocol required for such an international fixture. As a result, only one leg of the friendly will take place. The second leg, initially fixed for Monday, June the 3rd at the MKO Abiola Arena in Abeokuta, has been brought forward by a day and will now be held on Sunday, the 2nd of June at the same venue. So looking at this now, it has been drawn to the second leg might be played on Wednesday, but of next week, which is going to be the 4th or the 5th of June. So we will see how all of this will happen. But at the end of the day, let's just hope and see that the Super Falcons get themselves ready and also get into winning ways, because it has been a long time coming. Though these ladies are doing greatly well for their team side and club side in Europe respectively, where they are playing, even those playing in the local leagues here have been amazing this season. So we want to see that trajectory continue, and this is in line of preparation of championships that will be coming up later in the year and in the coming years for the Super Falcons. We'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, we'll be having conversations around the Unity Cup finals that will be kickstarting later tonight. Also in the United Kingdom, this will be happening in Brighton, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Reggae Boys of Jamaica will be facing and trading tackles in that beautiful game that will be played later today. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, and many thanks for staying with us. Now let's have these conversations around the Nigerian-Jamaican clash in the Unity Cup finals that will be happening later today. Nigeria will seek to retain her Unity Cup title against Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, in today's final at Brentford's Gateway Community Stadium. This will be happening in West London. The Super Eagles winners of the tournament for the previous edition in 2004 booked their place in the finals with a 2-1 win over Ghana. This happened on Wednesday night, while Jamaica edged Trinidad and Tobago 3-2 on Tuesday to set up the continental clash. Neither side had it easy reaching to the final. The Reggae Boys led 2-0 against the Soca Warriors, only to see their opponents draw level before the Fortress added time penalty secured their victory. Nigeria also led 2-0 after just 19 minutes against Ghana and looked to be costing to a resounding win, only to take their feet off the paddle when Ghana's youthful ensemble, led by veteran Jordan Ayew, had the momentum for the march of the second half, and after Brandon Thomas Ati pulled one back in the 70th minute, came very close to netting an equalizer in the added time before goalkeeper Stanley Wabali rose to the occasion. For coach Eric Chilly, today obviously presents an opportunity for a third win in 4 matches in charge of the 3 times African champions. The prospect of holding a trophy after only 4 matches makes it more and more appealing. So looking at this now is actually a way forward for Eric Chilly to smile. You know, he has just been in charge for just 4 games and then winning 3, and then hopefully he would be able to win today's match. And if he does win today's match, it just shows that, okay, he came in and then 4 matches and then winning a trophy. This is actually going to lead to a fact that Nigerians would have more trust in his capability and in his decision making with the squad. So it's very crucial for him to win, because we are seeing names like Victor Boniface, Ademola Lookman, Victor Osimhen, and the list continues on and on. This list of players are guys that were not invited for the Unity Cup competition. Obviously, we all know that reports reached us that Ademola Lookman actually is currently in Nigeria, and Abuja came visiting the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the State House with the trophy. So we have seen that, you know, without these players being available, we've seen the results that we can be able, that Eric Chilly can be able to pull off with the home-based players and a few of other international players that are, currently having more free time in their hand, I would say. Samuel Chukwueze is present. Alex Iwobi is also present. Cyril Darcy is also present. Wilfred Ndidi. All of these guys are present for the team. Stanley Nwabali obviously still very present. So today is going to be very crucial, and it's going to be very interesting for the Super Eagles to defeat. It's going to be nice if the Super Eagles will defeat the Reggae Boys, based on the fact that they are defending champions since 2004. This trophy hasn't left the Super Eagles, and this is actually going to be very good and very interesting for Eric and his current squad with the decisions he has made for us to be able, the Super Eagles, to be able to win this prestigious championship. So looking at all of those angles now, if he does win, then I think more trust will be embedded on him, and he would have more confidence ahead of the qualifying matches that will be played. Looking at building a team now for the World Cup, I think this is very key, having home-based players and a few international players to come around and play together. The experience and quality, is what is being mixed together at this point. So moving on, we'll see what will happen in the month of June, and also in July, there will be matches respectively that will be played by the Super Eagles in line with World Cup qualifiers. So this Unity Cup games that is also being played currently is interesting for the Super Eagles to help them prepare ahead of the competitions that are coming, preparations for the qualifying games that will be coming shortly in the coming months. So moving on, UEFA Champions League final preview as PSG versus Inter Milan. Who will win the competition later tonight? It's very, very interesting, and you have two hungry sides. I feel one side is hungrier than the other. That's talking about PSG, based on the fact that they have never won the UEFA Champions League. Inter Milan, on the other hand, the last time they won the UEFA Champions League was far back in 2010. This is over a decade ago. And PSG has never won. Now, like I rightly said just a couple of days ago, this is going to be the best attacking team in the world of football going against the best defending team in the world of football. Talking about PSG best attacking, Inter Milan best defending. So now who would win? But now, before we get into who would win and who would not win, let's look at what the story looks like. This curtain will fall on the 2024-2025 UEFA Champions League season later today, as Paris Saint-Germain takes on Inter Milan in a highly anticipated final at the Arzian Arena in Munich. This marks PSG's second ever Champions League final appearance after their 2020 defeat to Bayern Munich, while Inter Milan are seeking their fourth title, having last lifted the trophy in 2010. Now let's look at the path to the finals. Luis Enrique's PSG secured their place in the final by defeating Arsenal 2-1 in Paris and completing a 3-1 aggregate victory in the semi-finals. Inter Milan, on the other hand, came through a dramatic two-legged tie against Barcelona, winning 7-6 on aggregate after extra time. Between PSG and Inter Milan, their last encounter came in the preseason where Inter Milan won 2-1 in Tokyo thanks to a late goal from Stephane Cissé. So looking at this now, there is no any major competitions that have been played between these two teams, and maybe this is going to be a night where history will be made. Will PSG win, or will Inter Milan lift their fourth title, or will PSG have their first UEFA Champions League title? we would find this out later. But looking at this team, PSG inherited a Luis Enrique's side is very healthy and they are not having injury worries. So they are going into the finals very healthy with players on 100%. That's talking about the starting 11 and those that will be coming off the bench. Looking at Inter Milan, currently they have a couple of injury worries, which is not something that might pose a very big challenge for the squad. So if we look at it from both angles now as it stands, you know, it's the Champions League finals. Anything can happen. For me, I don't think they are favorites to win this championship, but some fans and sport analysts are giving it to PSG because they feel PSG is very, very hungry. But currently, for me, I think it's going to be a very close one, and the team that wants it more would win. There's something about these two teams and early goals. If PSG scores an early goal, it's going to be a very big problem for Inter Milan. But Inter Milan has a very good defensive midfield, and also a very defensive line. The same with their attacking powers as well. So Thuram is someone that is very, very deadly. So if you're looking at it from those angles now, Inter Milan also scores early goals. We saw how it happened between them in the semi-finals and Barcelona had to struggle from behind to catch up, but still they couldn't catch up. So it's going to be very, very close later tonight as these two teams will be going head-to-head against each other. And I promise you, it's going to be nothing short but exciting. A night of thrills, emotions, and everything that would be happening, everything that you feel when Champions League finals being played is what you should be expecting later today. But for me, I would love the game to advance into the 120th minute where we would see who would have the best laugh, and you know, when it gets to the penalty shootouts, the best, not this time around, it's not just the best team, but the best clinical and very patient team wins it when it gets to that position. So we'll see what will happen later today, and it's 8 p.m. Nigerian time. So let's see what happens then. Will PSG win it or will Inter Milan win it? We'll find that out later tonight. So moving away from UEFA Champions League, let's talk quickly around transfers, where Alexander-Arnold joins Real Madrid on 6-year deal. And finally, the long-awaited time, the conversation, the rumors, and everything has been silenced. Now the deal is done. Real Madrid had officially announced the signing of England international Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool on a 6-year contract. The arrangements, or rather the agreement reached between both clubs, will see the 26-year-old defender remain in the Spanish side from June 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2031. In an official statement released by the club on their site, Real Madrid confirmed Real Madrid CF and Liverpool FC has reached an agreement for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who will be linked to our club for the next 6 years. Alexander-Arnold arrives at Santiago Bernabeu after a highly successful spell with Liverpool, where he won 9 major trophies. His honors with Reds include 1 UEFA Champions League, 1 FIFA Club World Cup, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 2 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 2 EFL Cups, and 1 FA Community Shield. This shows, you know, that he is ready and he is in the league of those champions already. He won literally everything that is there to win in the EPL, and now he actually paid his dues in the EPL, and now he has moved on to Real Madrid to see how he will continue with also a young squad of Real Madrid. So looking at all of this now, with having Xavi Alonso as his head coach, I think Real Madrid are going to find their way back, given the fact that they had a trophy-less season. Barcelona did a whole lot against Real Madrid this season, beating them in all of their features, like literally in all of the features. Barcelona defeated Real Madrid this season, and we would see if they would be able to bounce back next season based on the current changes happening in the squad. Still talking transfer, Napoli close in on De Bruyne as Conte decides to stay with Serie A champions. Still during the week, we had conversations rumors around where Antonio Conte said he will be leaving Napoli after winning the championship. But finally, I think agreement has been reached with the management of Napoli, and he is looking to stay back. Talking about Antonio Conte now, Napoli are close to signing Kevin De Bruyne as a free agent, as the Serie A champions also managed to keep hold of their title-winning coach Antonio Conte. Asked by reporters late on Thursday night, Napoli's sporting director made this reveals and make all of this really, really known to the public, as he says. De Bruyne pretty close to joining Remo Lukaku, Scott McAnthony, and Billy Gilmour in moving to Italy from the Premier League side. Earlier this month, De Bruyne ended the 10-year spell at Manchester City, where he won 6 Premier League titles and the 2023 Champions League. And we saw that he had a party, and the whole guys came out to wish him a farewell at the end of the day. But moving on and seeing how well he will fit in, obviously De Bruyne is 30 and he has gained so much experience. So De Bruyne now would be able to fit in well. Having a coach like Antonio Conte in his side, I think he's going to, fit in well. And that is something that would happen really, really soon. We'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, we'll have a conversation around basketball, as we'll bring you highlights of the games that were played. Stay with us, we'll be right back. As the season is coming to an end, that's talking about the NBA basketball season, is coming to an end. Transfer windows and trade rumors are currently ongoing. Now, reports reaching us that Giannis Antetokounmpo has made mention of the fact that he's open to leaving the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, if he's open to leaving the Milwaukee Bucks, he has tried, won a championship with them, won the Emirates Cup with them, but still, the team needs some regrouping. And then most of the guys that he plays with that helped him got to the level of winning those championships. That's talking about Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Kuzma, all of them, they're all gone. Now you brought them in Lillard, and the mix has not actually worked out well for them, because of injury worries and all of that. Now we are hearing that Giannis Antetokounmpo might be going to the Bay Area. That's talking about Golden State Warriors. This is actually a cheat code right now. You can't have Jimmy Butler, you can't have Stephen Curry, you can't have Draymond Green, and have still Giannis on that squad. Then automatically they are going for a championship run. There is nothing you're telling me. If this trade does happen, it's actually going to sweep out the bench of the Golden State Warriors, because obviously Jonathan Kuminga would be traded. It's very, very certain he might be traded, but from the look of things, it's very certain that he will be traded out of Golden State Warriors. Then that is going to be a very big problem for those in the West if Giannis joins Golden State Warriors. So that's something that is going to be very, very disturbing. Anthony Edwards, after losing Game 5, he says that nobody is going to be as hard-working as he is at the end of this summer, because last year he tried, but Maverick Dallas and Luka made sure they didn't advance to the finals. This year, OKC Thunders were the stumbling block. So next year, I beg your pardon, next year we'll see what will happen. If OKC, which other team will be a problem for Minnesota Timberwolves? Will they have a problem or scale through that challenge? We'll see what happens as we get into the 2025-2026 season shortly. So moving on now, let me bring you highlights from the game between Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks, as New York Knicks takes up the lead And then the series is still being led by Indiana Pacers at 3-2 apiece. This is a best-of-7 series. So in the next early hours of Sunday morning, if Indiana Pacers get to win the Game 6, then automatically they have made it through to the finals. But if New York Knicks level it at 3-3 apiece, that means there will be a Game 7 that will be the decider of who would go to the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, and contest for the O'Brien Trophy. My name is Samuel Odi. I'll leave you with this highlight, and this is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition. You enjoy this highlight, and definitely I'll see you again as we talk sports, talk about the finals.